Welcome to the Focus Forum 2026. I am your moderator, Alicia J. Alexander, MSL from Master of Science in Leadership. I'm so excited to be here with our professionals of the hour, Dr. Danielle, Tara Utter, and John Kennedy. Um, I welcome you to the topic of speaking, public speaking, which happens to be um, most people's number one fear. And so we're going to discuss how we use public speaking to bring to forefront our issues of wanting to help in the workplace. Dr. Danielle, can you introduce yourself?
I sure can. Hi, good morning. I'm Danielle Lord. I'm the founder and principal of Archetype Learning Solutions, and I am an author, researcher, and creator helping businesses develop healthy cultures for happier employees. So I have a wide toolkit or a wide variety of products that I put out so that organizations can white label those products if they choose to, or bring me in to help implement them. But it's all about creating that space where we can reduce trauma, frustration, angst, pain, et cetera, for our employees. And happier workplaces create happier homes and happier communities.
Right. Tara, please introduce yourself.
My name is Tara Utter, and I am the founder of Next Evolution Consulting, and I have a program called the CHOPS Method that I developed based on my research, helping you to strengthen yourself from the inside out. I've written books about the subject. I have done lots of research on the topic. So, yeah, that's who I am. That's me.
Awesome. And John Kennedy.
Yeah, so John Kennedy, neural physician. I specialize in helping people, teams, improve their performance with a very unique approach that I developed at the request of our military many years ago. So what we do is we physically change your brain and rewire it to be faster and more focused. So obviously that helps high performers, a lot of entrepreneurs, professional athletes, Navy SEALs, but also we help people on the other end of the spectrum with any type of learning disability, autism, ADHD, and just people struggling emotionally as well. So that's what we do. It's a very, it's proprietary, but a very unique and engaging program. And I guess anybody with a brain, you could say I can help. That's kind of a big target. But we also certify other people to do what I do, which has also been very important.
All right. Okay, so how I would like to do this is everyone think about when you first began speaking. What was that experience like? And if you can help the audience to feel comfortable about speaking.
I don't know if it would reassure anybody, because the first time I was a speaker, couldn't remember my name if it was printed in front of me. I was lost. Now that has changed over the years. However, first time is not a very good indicator of how or what I spoke about or who I spoke about. I was supposed to introduce my best friend at a seminar. I couldn't remember her name. I couldn't remember my name. I couldn't remember where she was from. It was a mess. So my first experience wasn't something to, well, it was something to learn from, but not in a good way.
Was it a form of stage fright or what happened?
I don't know why my computer's got me so close. No, it was just, it had a lot to do with my imposter syndrome that I had not had diagnosed at that point. It was just, yeah, it was just flat out. I don't even know, insecurity at the nth degree. So yeah,
How do
it
you
was
feel about,
interesting.
how do you feel about speaking now?
It's not something I love to do, but I do love the responses I get and everything else because I'm not a super dynamic speaker, but and I have to catch myself not being too clinical either because I can be very just the facts, folks, just the facts. And I forget to put stories in. And so now when I speak, I literally have to write out not a script, but point by point.
Uh-oh.
Did you lose it, Tara?
Yeah,
Did I lose
frozen.
everybody?
Um, I think it's just Tara. You guys still here?
I'm
Danielle?
still here. Yeah, I'm
Something
still here.
froze.
Okay,
Oh, there
there
she
she
is.
There we
is.
go.
Okay, there
There's
we go.
Sarah. We
You were
lost you
saying
at point by
you,
point, Tara.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have to write down point by point. I have to write down my stories or just little bullets, not the complete. That I can't do that, but at least bullets that I follow. Otherwise, I ramble and it just kind of doesn't make sense and the impact isn't there. So if I make my bullet points and stick to what I'm doing, my husband's an amazing speaker. And so I get all my tips from him.
that's good.
Danielle?
I would say I'm not as much of a speaker as I am an educator, although I do some speaking. And I think I don't remember the first time I ever had like a public presentation that I did. I kind of started in the corporate classroom, if you will. So since I was always kind of the educator in the corporate setting, I hate training and I hate the word trainer. I'm an educator and we have learning opportunities. I will stand by that. That is my sword to die on. But so I was kind of always in front of people, going over a learning opportunity to some degree. So I think for the 35 years, it just has become very natural for me. And of course, I was a professor for 13 years. So I've just always kind of been in front of people. And so to me, that comes very naturally. Now, I hate being on a stage with a microphone and a podium. But sometimes that's just what you have to do. So I just finished up a 5-part series in June. And so it was very much, here's the podium, here's the microphone. It's like, okay, I have to either have a stationary microphone. I either have to walk or use my hands, preferably both. So if I'm at a podium with a stationary microphone, it's like, okay, which am I going to choose to do? And I find that it's more natural for me to be talking with my hands. So I tend to do this a lot. So yeah, it's just always kind of been part of the work that I've done. So
Yeah. I would kind of echo Danielle. I've always been a speaker. I think I grew up the oldest of 4 boys, and I was always telling my brothers what to do. And then, in my consulting, I actually always had a very unique way of approaching solving problems, and so I was teaching people a lot of the things that I was trying to teach them. And then the training kind of evolved into the speaking. So, I've spoken at hundreds and hundreds, if you include the trainings I did for the military and for other things, and I'm really comfortable doing it. I've tried, Tara, I've tried to have a script. I can't do it.
My
So,
husband can't do it either. It's
I
okay.
just, so I have the bullet points. I know what I want to talk about, try to read the audience. I think that's important when you're speaking is you have to be confident enough what you're saying so you're not reading, right? You have to be able to read the audience. And if they're starting to drift, then you need to throw something funny in or something interesting in there. If they're focused on you, then keep going with what you're doing. So I think part of it is just that interaction with your audience. Now it's different. I've recorded videos. I did a video course for Southern Utah University, and that was really hard for me because I was supposed to say the same thing every time, and I couldn't do that. So we ended up getting one of those little teleprompters, so I could at least, I would say it first, and then I just read what I said the time before. But that was an interesting experience. But I think that's the main thing. I think you just have to have a connection with your audience. No
Yeah.
matter what the audience is, whatever the stories are, and just have a couple of funny stories or something in your back pocket if you need to bring them out there. For me, typically, I always usually include one of my exercises, and they love that. They're laughing, they're having fun and engaged, and it makes it easier for me then to communicate what I want to communicate because they're experiencing it. So I think anytime you can throw some sort of experience in there for them at the same time to illustrate what you're talking about, that's also a good way to get their interest.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. If it were up to me, if I could, I'd have a lapel mic on so I could be on the floor interacting with people. That to me is much easier than just being stationary. But yeah, I am with you, John. I think the best way to do that is to have some kind of activity. I had an activity at my recent presentation that I did over the course of 5 of those over June. And it really does help to get the point across of what it is that you're trying to do and engage them much more. I'm also a fan of using Kahoot. If anyone has used Kahoot, that's Kahoot. Yep, it's KAHOOT exclamation point.
Okay.
And you can put little quizzes and polls and make Wordles. And so you can get the audience engaged using their phone and answering questions and doing responses. It's a lot of fun. A great way to get the audience engaged throughout the presentation. So you can put links into your PowerPoint and say, okay, we're gonna have a poll now, or we're gonna do a little quiz or something. So
great idea.
I remember, I think I had just completed my training with my coach, Christopher Salem, and I had the opportunity to be I won't say keynote, but the lead speaker for AMPRI, which is the Marketing Professionals Association for Rhode Island. That was my first public engagement, and I can tell you, I was nervous. But I tried to play it off and keep calm and keep collected. I made sure I had some kind of gift presentation as a thank you for having me there. And what was exciting about it is when people pay attention to you and taking notes. We had round tables, and there was this one woman who was like so ready to take notes on what I was about to say. It was like, wow, I'm that important. That's how I felt. But it was wonderful. Just having her in front of me taking notes was very encouraging and very empowering. So I had a really good experience for my first time.
Yeah, that's important. I always like it when you see people take screenshots with their phones when you have your slides up, and
does anybody have like somebody that you want to emulate when speaking, or somebody that you think speaks so well that like just speak like that person? I'll be all set. I'll share. Priscilla Shirer. She's a water-based minister, but she's not like a traditional minister. She's very the way she conducts herself and the way she brings her points across is like you can hear the mother in her, and the caring nature, the nurturing nature that she brings forth. So if I could speak like her, then I'd be like, yes. Sure.
Um, I, I like Simon Sinek because he brings has a lot of information. He kind of relates it in kind of a friendly way, but in a way that makes you think about what he's talking about. He doesn't just tell you what to do. He kind of so anyway. I think he's one of my favorite speakers.
Yeah, I like him. The other one that I really like is he, he's not much of a speaker, but his name is oh cheapers. Um oh where'd it go? It was right there on the tongue. Um I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I have anyone that I would say is, I would say this is who I want to speak like. I just want to show up as my true authentic self and say, how can I get better every time that
Yeah.
I'm speaking? And what did I take away from a particular event or topic? So, yeah, I guess I don't really have anyone.
I remember it's David Goggins, and
Yeah.
he speaks with true authenticity. He is who he is, and he doesn't care what people think.
Right.
And that's the attitude that I don't want to say I don't care what people think, because I do, but sometimes I care too much. So I want his attitude. I love Simon Sinek. He is one of my favorites, and it's that relatability factor
Right.
that
Right.
that he has, and I do try and imitate that now when I speak. Um, as far as reading the audience, are they business owners? Are they stay-at-home moms? Are they it depends on who I'm speaking to, but yeah, I love his relatability factor to all of
Yeah.
that. So those two I feed off of, and I try and pull some of their attitudes into how I speak sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's
I
good to imitate, the styles that we like if we can. Keep your own style, but if it's working for
yes,
them, right? That's a good thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate Johnny C. Taylor Jr., who is the CEO of SHRM. One thing I learned from him in his speech is how to bring out a point and make it so that, especially when it comes to the workplace, that people understand exactly what you're talking about. Like he did that for me, he did that with workplace instability. And so knowing the stats, knowing the pertinent information, especially like I said, when it comes to the workplace, those things are important. SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management, is like one of the top associations out there. And to see him, how he leads and how he speaks on the stage is phenomenal.
Yeah, SHRM does have some really good resources.
I love their website. In the pandemic, I was going to take my CP or SCP credentials. I got sick with COVID.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I couldn't even finish my study. I was like, oh, I'm done. So I'd rather support them, otherwise, but I don't know if I can actually go back and try and get that certification again.
Very good.
Yeah. It's a consideration. When you go through an experience that's negative and you just kind of like don't want to be in that same arena again, that's how I feel. I mean, I was really sick with that COVID and trying to study at the same time. It didn't work. So, when it comes to speaking, um, what do you think is the most important aspect?
I think it's relating to your audience,
Yeah.
Okay.
or one of. I can't say that's, but I think that's a really important factor, is being able to relate to your audience and that ability to draw them in
Hmm.
and really absorb what you're talking about and take it and apply it to however they see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would add being prepared to that too. Not
Yeah.
not overly scripted, knowledgeable. So you're not reading, off of your I was so I have some pet peeves when it comes to speaking. Always make sure you have a cheater screen available to you. So you're looking always directly facing your audience and not turning around to see what's on the screen. And then reading the slide title, physician leadership, and then going through kind of bullet by bullet by bullet. So you should have a familiarity enough with your deck or your topic to be able to speak to it without being super scripted, but also to Tara's point and the knowing your audience, being able to navigate and shift if you need to without getting too terribly off topic. So like I said, I just did 5 presentations. They were all the same, but they were all different because of where I kind of was at in the moment, how the audience was positioned, who the makeup, well, they were all pretty much the same people in the audience, at least professionally, but where the questions were going. And so you're prepared, but you're not scripted because you do need to be able to punt every once in a while and pull out a different story if you think that's going to be the thing that's going to resonate more with the audience. So I always think that comes to mind, prepared, but not scripted.
And one thing I don't know about you guys, it obviously depends on the material, but another thing I found is the less, I mean, obviously there's certain points you want to put up on on your slide deck, but the less of that, the better. I'm finding the ones I really enjoy are where they just have a picture, then talk about, right? So the picture gets your attention. I mean, you remember back in the old days where there'd be like 85 lines of text on the slide, and the guy would just read whatever the text was. That's terrible. Hopefully that's long gone. I mean, you have to.
Oh no, it's not actually.
But the other thing that I've started to do is when I do speak, I less on the deck, but then I can send them all the details if they want, the notes and everything. And very early on, I would put that out first, but then people are reading it instead of listening to the presentation, right? So you want to engage them with the presentation and then send them. And obviously, we always want to call to action when we speak, right? So if you want to learn more, here's your QR code, here's the email, here's a website, whatever it is, here's an offer, here's a survey or something, some way to capture their emails and then, keep an engagement going on. So
yeah, the QR codes are definitely a huge bonus to include those. Because then you can talk about, so I talked about the caregiver experience and the PTSD and the compassion fatigue, and of course, what I call cumulative workplace distress. So you put a few key pieces of information up there or a photo, to your point, John, and then you're like, if you want more, here's the QR code, but I'm not going to inundate the slide with data point after data point after data point.
Right.
How important is it to have handouts? If you do it like that, I mean, do they need the handouts, or do you want to keep their attention on the screen and on you?
And going with what Danielle said, better than a handout, because people, the handouts end up in their bag and they never look at them again, right? If they're interested and they do the QR code, then that's their handout information that they want. Plus, you're also capturing their information. So I don't, I don't, even when I do my training, I used to hand out the exercise. I just put it on a screen now. And so if they want it, they reach out to me. Then I'll say, if you want the instructions, what we did, and you want the exercise, reach out. I'll send it to you. That way, the people that aren't serious, that's fine. But the ones that are, then it starts a two-way conversation.
Yeah, it depends on the audience, because there's some audiences where I will print out the slides so they can take notes per slide and follow along. But I mean, the only time I've done that is if it's, a room full of social workers and that's who I'm talking to, they tend to take a lot of notes. So
Right.
I will print that out, and so that on each slide, because what I've noticed with social workers anyway, the ones that I've worked with, they'll put their questions per slide, and that way when it's that Q&A, they can go back and they go, okay, here's my
Right.
question based on this. And it's been helpful, but I don't do that for everybody, because again, if I'm going into a church to teach about resilience, we play a couple games and we kind of get them loosened up, but I don't give them those kinds. I give them like a blank, note sheet, folded in like 3 or 4 pages so that they have something to take notes with, but I don't
Right.
really give handouts for stuff like that.
Right.
So it just depends.
Yeah. So as an educator, I go right to, we learn when have different modalities. And so, there are the different styles too. So knowing, is this an actual learning event? And what level of Bloom's taxonomy objectives am I using? Because if I need you to apply something, then there's likely an activity, and that activity is going to come with something. Do I need you to remember something? Then maybe it's a fill in the blank kind of thing. So they do need to be following along. So there's that component of it as well. But if it's just like a keynote, like I did in June, usually not. No handout. So I had a QR code. We went through an activity, and then we talked through what I call Smarty goals. So I've renamed them Smarty goals because you have to have the why. So there was a QR code, and I made a job aid because a lot of people hadn't even heard of SMART goals. So I made a job aid, and then it was, okay, now you can scan the QR code and download the job aid so that you can begin to make this a habit, a habitual practice using the job aid. So I think it does depend. I don't think you can be too overly reliant on a stack of stuff, because again, they're flipping through that, and then I get, that's when I'll get a hiccup. I'll look out and I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking through the stuff and they're not paying attention to me. And that's kind of my brain goes, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have my panic moment.
Yeah. Like, are they paying attention? Are they, no, I get it. And like I said, it depends on, it depends on my audience as to whether they get a handout or not. I've been to some where they don't even get a note sheet. They get to watch what's up on the slides. And that's the way the organizer wanted it. So, okay.
You find that they do just that when it's a lighter topic or it's more engaging versus something that has been struggling since.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it depends. It depends on the audience. It depends on the topic. It depends on, how the organizer wanted it. But I think if you can get some sort of back and forth, it tends to be it's definitely more engaging, because you've got more. If somebody in the audience goes, hey, I have a question, everyone is going to turn and listen to them. And so and then they turn in you're the center of attention to give the answer, so that definitely helps with engagement, is having either questions or games. I have a, depending on which presentation I'm giving, but I have one where they get into small groups and we play a game, and that leads to the presentation. And at that point, they have all of their information, and they're going to, when I give them the presentation, they'll be able to follow along because now they understand what I'm talking about. It's not just some random lecture. And with that, it loosens them up. I throw, candy at them, and, not like beating them in the head with a Snickers or nothing, but, who's got the answer? You get the Snickers, and so it adds to that engagement. You can tell who's paying attention by who answers, and you see how motivated they are too. Do they want sugar or
Sorry, I had to, getting hot. I had to close the shades and turn the air conditioner on. Getting to 100 here now. So, so along those lines, how have you guys, or how did you, now we're starting to do things live again, but there's still a lot of online. How did you make that shift? Well, that was the hardest thing for me. I was supposed to speak at this conference up in Canada, and at the last minute they switched to a Zoom. And so I had 300 postage stamps, and it was so difficult to do.
Yeah, because you don't know if they're paying attention.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, there's no way to engage. So
Yeah.
now we're doing more live things again. But I was curious, small groups aren't too bad, but how you guys adjust to when you're speaking to a large group online as opposed to in person.
One of the things I do is I encourage them to put their cameras on so that, one, I can call them out on things.
Right.
Not in a negative way, but if I have a question, I can say, hey, this is a broad question. Since we can't raise hands, here, I'm just going to pick a name, and they're like, oh, crap, I got to pay attention. So, but yeah, it is harder because you can't read the room as well.
Yeah. 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 I had to convert all of our in-person leadership development to all online. And you have to kind of understand the dynamics of online learning as well. So that kind of shifted things because there are some differences to it. They've found that, most adult learners will have a tolerance for about 90 minutes for the online stuff versus more when it's in person. You can have a full day when it's in person.
Right.
And we'll have a tolerance for that because it's just a different dynamic. So that's when I discovered Kahoot. And so I took the Kahoots and built those into things, and it really did. It helped with the engagement quite a bit because we were going through a couple of slides, talking through some things, and then would throw a Kahoot in. And so, like I said, the poll or the quiz or the Wordle or whatever it was. So it really helped, I think, with the engagement as well. Now, from a learning perspective, different than like a keynote address. I have not done a keynote online, done lots of learning, but I'm having synthesis sessions. So coming back in a couple of weeks and saying, okay, let's get back together. And we're not this isn't a didactic, this is a Q&A. What did you learn? And I love that. I think regardless of what I do going forward, I would still include those because, we all know that learning is not taught, it's caught. And so it's, you don't learn something just because you sat in the seat. And so how you apply something a week later and what's that experience like? So that's another thing that I did when I went fully online. So it's just one more way to engage with them as well. So
yeah, like that.
I think that engagement part is something that not only we should practice, but it's like the critical part of us public speaking, you know,
There
to,
is an art to it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of stages myself, but I've done a lot of podcasts. And I think when we're speaking, all those elements, stage, podcast, roundtable, forum, they're all important to be able to share information, strategically information for your audience. You know, what do you think?
Reword that.
Oh, okay, we word that. Well, I'm just trying to say the different arenas that you can public speaking. You know, not everything is on the stage, but they're all important, whether it's a podcast, whether it's on stage, whether it's in a classroom. I had an opportunity to speak to a marketing class. If I'm missing anything, please chime in and share. But I mean, when it comes to public speaking, there's so many ways that we can deliberate on our topics, and not just one is more important than the other. Am I looking at that correctly? I like
Well,
that.
I think,
Dr.
yeah, I think getting ourselves out there, regardless of what the venue is, whether it be online or in person, you're getting out there either way.
Okay.
So it's
Right.
adding to your experience
Yeah.
So,
and building your confidence regardless of what platform you're on.
Yes.
I think you have a little different goals for, by the way, I'm going to send you guys a link to the, if I haven't before, to the podcast huddle. My friend Fritz runs it. It's Monday mornings, 11 o'clock Central Time. And it's a wonderful group. It's free. And basically it's for podcasters and podcast guests. So you might get on a podcast.
Okay.
If you want to do podcasting, what I like about it goes along with what we're talking about here is he always gives great advice, because your goal when you're on a podcast is different than when you're speaking to a large group.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So he helps you define your objectives, your goal and objectives for your podcast, as opposed to what we're talking about speaking. So I'll put that in there. And by the way, I'll also
Yeah,
put
definitely.
for C-Suite Network. Are you guys familiar with that? I've been part of that for a long time. There's a free networking event every Friday at 4 o'clock Central.
Okay.
I'll send you the link, register, you get on, there's about 40, 50 people on from all over the world, really, really interesting people. So it might be a great way for you guys to meet, potential clients, but also they have breakout rooms, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'll send that to you guys. But the podcast huddle really, I recommend. It's just a good group if you want, supportive if you want to do podcasts.
I've done quite a few podcasts. I actually have a live TV show.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Nice.
awesome.
That
Wow.
is through USA Global TV and Radio.
Cool.
I had one before. Alicia was on that one. That's how we met. And now I have a new one called It Shouldn't Hurt to Go to Work. They've got hundreds of channels, and it's live.
Wow.
Yeah, I am on live TV, sometimes, hopefully always with guests, because I'm terrible at doing the monologue, despite the fact that I taught in person in classroom for, my entire career. But it's so being live sometimes podcasts are live, but they usually are pre-recorded and sometimes edited. But and then getting into kind of this broadcaster mindset versus podcaster mindset has been different as well too. So the trick that she's given us is to always start your interview or your monologue conversation with a compelling question.
Yeah.
To kind of be a hook. So yeah.
I like that with the compelling question. I used to belong to, well, I still am, I haven't been able to attended any of the meetings, Women's Prosperity Network. And when I was beginning my journey, they were talking about the different modalities of public speaking. I think like organizations like that are really strong in helping prepare for public speaking. I mean, they tell us that you gotta get out there, and that's what some of them, that's what they're designed to do, make you think, get out there and share your story, share your material,
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's always podcasting. It's always good if you have an opportunity to meet with the podcaster before the actual podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And then actually you can send them the questions they want to ask you. Some people ask for every podcast host different, but some of the best ones, they tell you what they want up front so you can be prepared. And then I always my podcasters always give them I invited you guys to do this too if you want 20 minutes, but I think Danielle, you went through it. So I give them a little demonstration of my program, and then they have the experience then to ask the questions from it. Maybe the same thing with you guys. If you can get that meeting before the host and really understand what you do, then that'll be a better podcast interview as well.
I actually have I guess it's called a one sheet that has who I am, what I do, questions that are pertinent to, what program. And that's,
right.
I haven't sent it out yet, but I have it to send out.
Yeah. That's
But
good.
yeah, I mean, I did a couple of podcasts on the fly, meaning I thought I was just having a phone conversation. Turns out it was a podcast. I was like,
no.
Oh, wow.
okay, let me do, give me 5.
How often does that happen?
I mean, it's like,
right?
okay, if it's just a conversation, I don't, I could be in a hoodie and, have my hood up because, short hair kind of, Danielle, when you get up, it just kind of does weird things. So I'll just throw my hoodie on if it's just a phone call. I had one, she's like, had her camera on, and it was, I thought it was just a conversation. She's like, "You ready for the podcast now?" I went,
Oh no.
"Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Yes, I can be, but I need to go throw a jacket on or, get out of my hoodie, and I need to do something with my hair." I need to look a little bit more professional. I mean, today, the tank top, I wouldn't have normally wore that on here, but it was so hot outside and I just got back from, running around. I'm like, I can't change. I'm still sweating.
Grace.
But
that's all I'm saying. Grace.
But yeah, it's yeah, exactly. But it's about, for me, it's about being prepared for that. Only because I've had those moments where I need to go check myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love doing podcasts. I feel like I can speak more freely. People want to hear, I hope, what I have to say. It's more of a, it's they already have an audience, so you're speaking to people that are somewhat like-minded because that's a good audience that they have. So yeah,
I like doing the podcast too. Now with the live TV show, we are encouraged to not have a list of predetermined questions.
Okay.
So it's all very much in the moment. So you have to be constantly listening to what your guest is saying so that you're asking questions based on what it is they said, not based on some predetermined script that you've developed. So I oftentimes won't have a phone call or a conversation with a guest prior to, for that very reason, because I don't want to get things in my head that I,
Oh.
definitely want to direct. I want the guest to direct that versus me directing it. So
Hey,
it's a
Chris.
little different.
So
Hey,
welcome,
John, good to
Chris.
see you. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
good to see you. It's been a while. I was telling Alicia, Connecticut. I was on your podcast for years. We
Oh,
mutual
yeah.
friends, and I follow you. I get your podcast, and I see you
Yeah.
on popping in and out of other things, and so it's great to see you.
Good to see you. I know
Thanks.
Alicia invited me. I just got off a call, so I just wanted to
Welcome,
pop in when I
coach.
could here.
Yeah.
Hey, Alicia.
This is my coach, so welcome, coach. We have
is
Dr.
great.
Danielle, Tara, and now you know John, so welcome. And
Good to meet you.
we're talking about speaking, so we'd love
Oh, great.
yeah.
And podcast. But
And
by the way,
podcasts.
Chris, are you familiar with Fritz's huddle that meets on Monday mornings?
Fritz's Huddle. No, I'm not.
I'll send you the link. Basically, because you'd love it. So basically, it's a group. I was explaining to these guys. He's got podcasters and people who want to be podcast hosts.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an open, free meeting.
Sure.
It's your Eastern time. It would be noon your time. But he always has great advice for the host, but also for the guests.
Yeah, Mondays. I mean, I'm going to be away this Monday because I'm going to be speaking at a radiology conference, but I can get on other Mondays, not a problem.
Cool. Yeah, I think you'd like it. If I'll make a note here to send you the link.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So man, I was just talking to my brother the other day. And I'll be getting out your way probably maybe end of the summer.
Yeah, cause I'll be around. So stop in. Is your brother still in Danbury?
Yeah, still in Danbury. Yeah, he's up actually in Vermont for vacation. He's coming back.
Yep.
So I'll stay with him there, and then. But yeah, I'll have a few days. We should hang out.
Absolutely. Well, we can get together. I have no problem doing that. I'll be around.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Coach, you want to landscape your phone so it can open up more wide?
Sure. Let's see here. There you go.
Yeah, like that.
There we go.
Okay.
Awesome.
I am going to do this now so I don't forget.
So as a coach, I can give a testimonial, but I want you to share your expertise.
Sure. Well, besides being a professional speaker at leading industry B2B, B2B, B2C conferences and companies, I'm an expert in the area of emotional intelligence and communication strategy, how to communicate one-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many across different personality types, generational types, and culture and ethic types. So what does that mean to business? Well, that can be applied to all facets of a business in terms of leadership and team development. A lot of times retention and burnout issues are a result of lack of communication, which oftentimes is why leaders are not connecting with their people. And that can be a generational thing, obviously with Gen Z. I use it in sales acceleration and marketing acceleration. A lot of times individuals, how they communicate in the sales process to their end user is based upon how they process information, not how the other person processes information. So different personality drivers, generational drivers, culture and ethic types, all these different factors will determine how people process information. So if you know how to adapt your communication in a way that they neurologistically process information, you're able to build rapport and trust faster and reduce the number of touch points to convert and close potential more business. I use this in presentations when you present one to few, or in marketing and sales on a large level, how this can show up on your upper fold of your website with where you lead with the challenge that can be better, the result they seek, and have connecting neurologistically in your email marketing and your social media profiles and posts, your marketing collateral, all of it, all the places where your audience interacts, where you could take the bulk of your audience and how they process information will again expedite your lead gen and SEO to perform better and to convert and close more business. I use it in stakeholder buy-in, I use it in customer experience and also raising capital with private equity and angel investors. So I get asked to speak at a lot of industry B2BC conferences around this topic as it applies to these different facets of business. And I do a lot of coaching, consulting, either on an individual team and organizational level in those areas where speaking has been the platform that created that rapport and trust to get me hired to do that. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question that I know the audience is going to want to hear. When did you first begin speaking, and what was that experience like?
Well, I started speaking back in 1993. I'm dating myself. I'm 59, but at that time I was speaking locally, like libraries and rotaries and chamber events. I could say that the first time when I spoke, then it was a little nervous, just because I really cared about what people thought. A lot of times I was, I tied what I was going to say to how people were going to perceive things. I didn't have the right mindset at the time. I had not at that time embarked on emotional intelligence. So again, I was operating from fear. But I could say that my first professional talk in the year 2000, which was 26 years ago in Montreal, I had begun my journey into EQ, and this is where I am obviously in the last 26 years of what I do and my expertise. And while I had some jitterbugs in a way, I was able to really navigate the audience very well and had a very pleasant experience. And it just got better and better. And now, I speak pretty much every week. I've been doing that for years. And, a lot of times I can do these things in my sleep, or I could speak on command. But again, it's just through repetition, practice, and doing it. But yeah, I could say, like with anybody, it was tied to the outcome. And now I'm just tied to the moment in the process. I'm not, I can only influence somebody. I'm not here to persuade or convince them, and I can't control their expectations nor how they're going to perceive what I said, other than that I understand who they are and I communicate in a way that I feel is best how they're going to process information. So I just remove myself from the attachment to the outcome and immerse myself towards the intentions to deliver as much value as I possibly can.
Ask coach a question. I don't want to dominate the asking, so I'm inviting you.
Go ahead and ask a question. Get us rolling.
So Chris,
If you want me to ask a question for myself, I mean, I don't know.
yeah, that'd be great. We see your podcast interviewing in person, right? Interview yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
I got a question,
Okay,
Chris.
so I'll continue moderating.
Well, no. John said he had a question. John said he had.
I got a question for you, Chris. So
Okay.
obviously we were talking about this before. In person is always the best, and you're doing some in person speaking. How did you adjust when it all went online during the shutdowns?
Yeah, well, here's the good news. I had already been doing virtual even before COVID, so that was a plus. I actually had saw when Skype obviously came out. Zoom had not come out yet, but I kind of had just a feeling that things were going to start to gradually move towards virtual, just
About 20
not
minutes.
completely, but and during COVID, it was like I was able to make the shift very, very seamless. Whereas a lot of speakers that have been doing it a long time just weren't prepared, and everything everything just fell apart. They didn't have anything they could do, and I was just busier than ever. I just a lot of people wanted this content, and amongst other things that I was doing. And I was, constantly filling my schedule. And of course, it was a fraction of what they would have paid in person. But because of the repetition so even today, when I speak every week, it's not always in person. It's also virtual. Like I did two speaking gigs this week to CPAs for CE credits, all virtually this week on Tuesday and Thursday yesterday. So yeah.
Great. I remember I was saying the first time I was supposed to speak at this conference in Canada. The last minute they flipped it to online, And I was looking at, 300 postage stamps of people. It's a
Yeah.
little bit different at first to get used to, but that's great if you can do it that way as well. It gives more flexibility for your clients too.
It does because sometimes budgets are tight, and especially if you're doing a workshop on something where okay, there's certain things you can't always do on virtually, but if the budget's tight, there are a lot of things I could adapt and still create a
Right.
valuable experience. Now, if you start getting into like lots of people, that's sometimes tough to do virtually because people are going to tune out
Yeah.
eventually after a period of time. But even though, believe it or not, I still do occasionally. I've done all day workshops on Zoom or Teams,
Yeah.
and we keep them
Yeah.
engaged. We break up at certain times. We drip
Yeah.
things. We get them engaged. As long as you get them engaged and you're not a talking head,
Right. Right.
you will definitely keep their attention. But yeah, I'm always still in person. I still always prefer in person, but
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I don't want to be traveling every week. But so that's why I like the mix.
You were for a while, I remember. You
Yeah.
were like traveling all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be like that in September. I have to speak at 5 different conferences in less than a week.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
No, the good news is you can wear this. So I have a friend of mine, I remember once, he's talking about how he was at a speaking engagement and he came and spoke with us. And someone said something about, what do you do for clothes? He goes, I just wear the same thing every time. It's a different audience.
I
They don't
guess
even know.
the guys can get away with that, right? I don't know if the
Right,
ladies would do that, but
right, right.
I do wear the same sport. Like I'm going to this event for 3 days. I will have the same sport jacket, and yes,
Yeah,
I'll have a different shirt, of course, and
yeah,
two or three different pants, but the same sport jacket because I like to
right.
travel. I don't want to, no, I don't want any carry on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's
Travel
right.
light. So, what would you say would be the best advice for someone who wants to get into the speaking field? I'm finishing up my PhD, and I have a program that I've developed based on my PhD, and I want to get it out there, do some public events, things like that. What would you recommend as far as really getting it amped up?
So what I would recommend is that based upon what your expertise is in and
Mm-hmm.
what your program is about, you really have to know your audience first.
Right.
So don't just assume your audience is some demographic of these people of this age group, and you might know a few buying behaviors. That's not enough. You really got to
Right.
understand, like, if it's, let's say, for instance, if it's an analytical audience, someone who these are like
Mm-hmm.
to be engineers or project managers or educators or whatever that is, they're going to process information in a very detailed analytical way. So
Right.
so in this case, the fact you know your audience, now you got to identify what kinds of conference events would cater to those people, where there would be a captive audience of them, where that if you're able to know how to leverage your content through the speaker abstract process to get selected, how you can now, if you get selected, how you could position yourself to speak on a topic. It may not be exactly verbatim on what your program is, but it will indirectly or directly play to that. But it'll put you in touch of that audience to build a rapport and trust, give them value. And now they're going to now, if they like what you've done for them, they're going to more likely find out more about you. And now
Right.
maybe your program can be something that could play a part in what their challenge is, that could be better, the result they seek. So I found over 26 years speaking at leading industry B2B, B2C conferences, while it doesn't pay well if you're doing a breakout, or sometimes it doesn't pay at all, you can make more money on the back end if you have the right business model to monetize it. And then if you mix that over time as you get experience with keynotes that do pay well, your speaking career can be well in harmony to produce the results you're seeking in your business. Now, if you're just looking to make
Right.
money on speaking itself, that's going to be a little more challenging, because unless you are a household name in your industry, you're in well demand and you belong to some high end speaker bureaus, it's probably going to be unlikely you're going to secure a lot of keynotes. So the breakouts are, if you know how to fill out the abstracts, You know how to leverage your content. The mistake that a lot of speakers make is they use a cookie cutter title, a cookie cutter description, and takeaways. That will never work or get you selected. You have to know how to adapt your content to each event that you apply for in terms of the challenge, the overall, what is the challenge that that audience has that can be better, that plays to what you do, and what is the result they seek and have. Now, when you're able to do that and you build that rapport and trust, that's where opportunities on the back end start to materialize.
Gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Good advice.
Coach, thank you so much for coming in and joining the experience, the focus forum. I really appreciate you. And you know, it's been 2 years, and so I've been enjoying 2 years of knowing you as a coach. Thank you so much.
Well, and the world needs to hear more about Alicia and what she's doing to really revamp workplace environments. You know, there's so many workplaces that are dysfunctional, and you know, just a lot of people putting band-aids on it. And you know, Alicia's got a great process and a solution to that. And I'm, you know, and again, just keep putting it out there, Alicia. It's gonna, you know, eventually, you know, these organizations are gonna realize overall that, you know, if they keep doing what they're doing, they're not gonna retain people, because the new generations now, they're not tolerant of the, you know, what as baby boomers or Gen X were. They're not going to stick around, and the only way they're going to keep moving forward, yes, you can use AI, and will it replace everybody? No. So they're going to have to adapt, and so they're at some point they're going to have to make these changes, whether if they want to do it or not.
Right.
Right. Right.
Thank you for speaking on my organization excellence model system. Just the foundational tenets says there's a change that needs to occur. And, you know, I'm not going to go into it, but, you know, that's the thrust right now to address what's happening. Like Johnny Taylor talks about instability in the workplace. You know, Gen Y and Z, they're not, they may be experiencing the instability, but they're not going to be quiet like X, you know, workers. They're going to either rile it up more, because I mean, I've witnessed, like, you know, in the engagement, they'll either rile it up more or like, you know, take it to a different level, you know. So, yeah,
I do think they're going to be the impetus that starts that J curve, but we have 1,000 years of history that we have not addressed in how we function as organizations. And that's, from all my research, the underlying root cause. And we have to understand all that generational trauma and learned behavior that is what keeps the problem in motion. So we've got to address that, figure that out, recognize it, and really address and rethink how we are functioning as managers and leaders. And but it might be that this next generation creates that J curve that makes that happen. Yeah. Because when I'm talking with leaders and they're saying, I still have money in my recruitment line item, why should I care about retention? That's a big problem.
Yeah, Danielle, you just hit it on the money. I'm doing a talk at the radiology conference on staffing, and so many of these radiologists all they're doing is recruiting, and they're recruiting into a leaking work environment. So as they bring more people in, more people are leaving. So the problem doesn't get fixed. You should be focusing on retention.
Yep.
So true. So, and I'm also doing, and another thing they don't do, well, this is not radiology, but other, they still hire based upon experience and talent. But if their value system or their, you know, if their personality doesn't align, or better, more important, their skills are not as transferable as, that's what you should be hiring on. Are they coachable? Are they going to stick around?
Exactly.
I could get somebody talented, but if they're only there for 6 months to a year because it's all about them, that ain't helping my
Exactly.
team.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep.
So yeah,
So true.
good point.
So true.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to, as we uh, proceed, we're going to just go around and say who we are and what we offer. Dr. Danielle?
I just finished my second book on employee engagement, which is addressing some of those 1,000-year-old challenges that we have as the root cause of our engagement efforts right now. So that's called Building Beyond Engagement. That should be coming out later this year. That will also have a field guide that will be coming out early next year. So it will have a lot of my tools and resources that will be a part of that field guide as well. And then just recently this week started my next round of research on physician leadership fatigue. And we're hoping to create a path analysis on what is the real driver of leadership fatigue amongst emerging physicians. So if you know any physicians who are in leadership roles, I'd love to have them complete the survey.
I'll let you guys know. I mean, even though the event I'm at is radiology, but they may know some people. So let me ask around.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, trying to
Alright.
really figure out what's driving. Well, yeah. What key factor is most highly correlated with the leadership fatigue amongst physicians that are transitioning into the role?
Awesome.
So, yeah, this is our third round of research with this particular topic. So,
Do you need PhD or MD or DVM? I know a few of both. I know a lot of
think.
DVM.
I think right now we're going to keep it pretty stratified to MD and DO.
Okay.
So
A couple.
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the last two rounds of research have led to pretty ubiquitous conclusions that leadership development is lacking in most industries, right?
Mhm.
But I think for this research, we've got it kind of tightened up to MD-DO. So yeah, thanks,
Perfect.
Tara.
Tara, want to share?
Oh, okay, sure. So my name is Tara Utter. I am the founder of Next Evolution Consulting, where I have a program called the CHOPS method that helps you develop your psychological strengths from the inside and from experiences that you've already had that you don't realize are part of that strengthening system. Yeah, and I'm a PhD candidate. So that's that's who I am and what I have right now.
And Coach, since you're our guest, definitely would like to hear.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I already gave my overview. I mean, for me, I do have a new book coming out towards right around the fall timeframe called the EQ Advantage. You know, it's going to be talking about the concept of EQ as a foundation, why it's a must-have, not a nice-have when it comes to developing people and how they communicate effectively across all facets of business. So it'll be addressing that using some actual case studies that I've actually done for organizations I've worked with. And yeah, so that will be out around October. I'm hoping it's going to be out right before I speak at HR Southwest in Dallas, Fort Worth at that event, but it may not. I'm because I have a few other things I have to do. But that's pretty much the highlight of, and just everything else I shared earlier.
What is the title again?
The EQ Advantage.
EQ Advantage. Okay.
Yeah, emotional
Wow.
intelligence. Yeah.
And it's going to be on Amazon, of course, and Barnes and Noble
Yeah,
as well.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It'll be on both you, but Amazon probably more. That's where usually most people buy books. But Barnes and Noble too. It'll be there as well, and it'll be distributed also through some libraries as well.
John?
And so John came to a position. Most of my work is based on a program I developed at the request of our military that was integrated into operational as well as leadership programs. The goal is to improve not your mind so much. So many wonderful, we're talking about mind programs, this specifically targets the brain. It's like the CPU to the operating system. So when our brains are more efficient and faster, we get more done in less time and better. We relieve stress, we improve teamwork, and we can overcome so many different issues. Lately, not just high performers like business leaders and professional athletes, people on the other end of the spectrum with autism, ADHD, dementia, strokes. So we help a wide range of people, but we do it by specifically making the brain very quickly much faster and more focused.
I personally been through John's program, and it's fabulous, and it's so great for almost any type of business unit, regardless of improving your cognitive ability and the ability to be more focused, and it was, and it's fun too. Besides that, it's fun.
Right, that's right. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah.
No worries.
Awesome.
Love doing it.
Oh, and just real quick, guys, because I'm only able to be on till 3 East Coast time because I have a client at 3, but I didn't want you to think if I have to drop off, but I have a client at 3.
Yeah, I do
We'll
too.
be
So I
done in
have to
2
hop off in a
minutes.
couple minutes.
Yeah.
We'll be done in 2 minutes. And so I'm your moderator, Alicia J. Alexander, MSL. And right now I have the Organizational Excellence Model System, which is an AI application to help decision makers in the workplace strategize, and it's human-centric. So anything about staff, anything about workplace relationships, this is the best tool, premier human-centric AI application to use. I'm also embarking on an opportunity to help young people speak up and speak out about issues that concern them, called I Have a Voice. And I'm looking forward to working with you on that issue. So thank you for everyone for being here. I appreciate you all, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. It's so good to see you, Chris.
Good seeing you, John. And I replied to your email. Let's definitely get together. And it was nice meeting you, ladies.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You too.